I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We are joined by Jumpers. Hi! Please introduce yourself.
I'm really excited to be here. Oh, hi. I'm Clockwork Jumpers, or just Jumpers. Some people call me Jumpy. And I am a steampunk-themed unconventional tinker. Why am I unconventional? That's because I never know what I'm doing and I make it up on the spot.
That's what kind of steampunk is all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you
I just thought it was a fun aesthetic.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? I like this.
Yeah, take what you have and make do with it. That's what you do. How long have you been VTubing?
I just started. I debuted a month ago on the 13th. So, like a 13th of April. I debuted, and I was planning my debut for about like 4 months beforehand.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I did it right, but of course it didn't come out right.
Of course.
Because it never does.
Yeah.
It never does. Nothing ever comes out perfectly.
Well,
but
that's why people have debut. That's why people have debut 2.0 and 3.0
mm-hmm.
just to make sure they get it right the third time.
Yeah, it didn't come out perfectly, but it came out the way that I wanted it for the most part.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Have you been wanting to do this for a long time, or how did you come about finding it?
Yeah. Okay, so the fun story. I always tinkered with the idea whenever VTubers became popular in that. I was like, I mean, that's interesting, but I never fully got into watching VTubers. I like to say I'm chronically offline, which is very unusual for someone of my age, especially my generation.
Mm-hmm. You
But
whippersnappers and your internet all the time.
Oh yes, I'm always on my phone playing Sudoku. But no, I did content creation for about since I was like in 8th grade. I was like 14,
Mm-hmm.
so for about 6 years I did content creation.
Jeez.
I started off with a private Instagram where I would post my cosplays and stuff. I started off as a cosplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to meet a bunch of different people. And I met someone who was really into the YouTube streaming scene, and that got to know them for a little bit. I'm not going to go too much into that, but
Okay.
I met a community of people who were into content creation or some aspect of it,
Right.
whether it be voice acting or the logistics,
Right.
moderating. I was a moderator for a while on a Discord server whenever I was 16. So that was fun.
That's good for a 16-year-old, yes. You learn a lot of things that way.
You learn a lot of things and you experience things that both good and bad.
Yeah. This is not an endorsement, by the way.
Oh yes. But I met a lot of people who I'm still really good friends with to this day.
Mm-hmm.
People that my mom always asks me about, always wants to check in on, make sure that they're doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
And people that I ask for advice, with content creation. But I started 16, about to turn 17 was whenever I really started to get into streaming, and that I convinced my parents to let me give it a try. And I started streaming, but I didn't always enjoy doing the face tubing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't always enjoy doing the face tubing stuff.
Yeah.
It was just a lot. I couldn't do a consistent streaming schedule on that. I suffer a lot from I not suffer. I coexist with mental illness
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
Yeah.
So some days it's hard to, get out of bed, both the mental and physical symptoms.
Oh, absolutely,
It
absolutely.
makes it hard.
Oh yeah,
Makes it hard.
yeah, it does. But you've gotten through as best you can to this point,
Mm-hmm.
and I imagine performing gives you quite an outlet to let some.
Oh yes, I
Yeah,
always loved performing.
yeah.
Um, I was a theater kid back in school. I saw Into the Woods whenever I was in second, third grade, and I fell in love with musicals. My mom joked before she took me. She was like, "Yeah, I'll take you to the musical, but you have to promise me that whenever you're in high school, you have to do the musicals." And I was like, "Okay," and I did. Absolutely loved them.
Hmm.
And I did them up until 10th grade because then uh, COVID happened.
Yeah. Mm.
But we were doing The Wizard of Oz that year, and I got the Wicked Witch, and I was having so much fun. And I told my mom, I was
Oh.
like, "Mom, I'm so excited! I can't wait to scare little kids.
That's
Like, I can't wait to terrify them."
yeah, and then something even more terrifying hits, and everybody has to go inside
Oh
for a while.
yes, yeah. I
It's
was like at my lowest point during
yeah.
auditions that year,
Mm,
but and like I almost went and left mid auditions. I was very low.
yeah.
The physical side effects of depression really started hitting. My body would freeze at some points. They were called non-epileptic events.
Right.
Um, and I couldn't move my body. And then there were times where I would become mute temporarily. Um,
Oh,
and it would feel a lot,
yeah. It.
like a lot of the time.
Oh,
But the thing that kept me going was two of my friends, they graduated the year before, but they came and they stayed in the lobby during auditions just to cheer me on. And it was
cool.
just so nice just seeing them. They weren't allowed to go into the auditorium or anything,
Right.
but I would see them through the cracks in the door, just like wishing me the best, and it pushed me forward. I wouldn't be here without the Jumpers support system.
Well, folks,
Jumpers Protection Squad.
that's right. Uh, Depression and I don't know exactly what type of. I'm not going to ask you what exactly type
Mhm,
you're dealing with. People don't realize how it manifests in a person and how
mhm,
much it really affects them. It's not just, oh, I feel blue today. It it
mhm.
it is entire body and self um, illness, and
Yeah.
unless you find the right way to deal with it, everybody is different. No two types are the
Mhm,
same. Um,
mhm.
and sounds like you might have had a little bit of a rough time with it early on.
I did. I really did. I was a star student. I was on track to become valedictorian.
Whoa.
Had like a lot of expectations
Hmm.
and stuff. And I I've always like throughout like middle school and then even a little bit in elementary school, I had like some struggles, some downward spirals, but nothing I couldn't cope with. But come like 10th grade was like my real like breaking point.
Hmm.
I stopped being able to go to classes. I stopped being able to do classwork. I remember one time just sitting trying to write a paper for my history class, and I was just writing the introductory sentence, and I couldn't write it, and my brain was just going overload. Like
Hmm.
it felt like I was just had too many tabs open on
Yeah,
on a computer.
and
Like my brain just felt.
that's a great way to describe that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it really does. It's an overload in some cases, and while people
Hmm.
outside looking think there's nothing going on, there's too many things going on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and I felt so frustrated and like I was just like I want to throw my computer across the room and like I'm not really okay, I'm a dramatic person, but I'm not that dramatic most of the time. Um
You've had to come up with the right
but
line while doing it too. There's some
mhm,
sort of to really draw attention to you before you made the throw.
yeah. Well, I was like by myself. I would
Mm.
always seclude myself. That's another thing that I would do. I would just like just being around people was also like a lot. But I was like, yeah, this isn't right. Something's wrong with me. And the real turning point, I talked to my mom and dad. We were getting ready to go somewhere with my one friend. And I was like, I know I should feel really excited and happy for this, but I don't feel anything. Like I don't feel like I don't want to do this. I don't feel like tired. I don't feel like anxious or anything about this. I just don't feel anything. I just know that what I'm supposed to feel and how I'm supposed to what I'm supposed to experience, but I just can't feel anything. And that was a huge turning point in just getting help, breaking down walls. My parents, bless them, they are just the sweetest, patient. I wouldn't be who I am today without their guidance. I have so much gratitude towards my parents,
Yeah.
and my friends, my family, just everyone around me, everyone I meet, the good and the bad. I wouldn't be where I am today without everyone that I've met, all the experiences I've gone through.
Yeah. And I hope you give enough credit to yourself, because
Oh yeah,
there's
I've
probably a
only
lot of times
started to
when you could,
recently.
yeah, there's probably a lot of times where you know, got to the point where I just don't want to do this and I just don't do anything and I'm
Hmm.
gonna go hide.
And like that comes back to like VTubing, that like 10th grade, I pretty much failed all my classes. Like I went from straight A student, maybe a B or a C here and there,
Mhm.
to failed pretty much every single one of my classes, went to summer school. Next year wasn't much better, but that's just because there was lot of a lot of not so helpful guidance counselors and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I ended up taking twice as many classes as I was supposed to be taking, and they kind of just brushed it off as, "Oh, you're a smart kid. You should be able to handle this. And if you don't, then like, then there's something wrong with you." Like, pretty
That's
much. I'm
that's
paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what I was told. And I tried to like ask for help. I was like, "Hey, here are some ideas and plans that maybe we could help. Like maybe I can get in contact with this teacher who was my mentor. Like I was assigned a mentor
mhm.
whenever I was in school. And like some kids had mentors and stuff just
Right.
because of different programs we were in.
Mhm.
Wonderful system.
Mhm.
They would like check in, and she was just amazing. And but she I was like, "Can I check in with her again?" And they were like, "Yeah, we'll ask her. Well, we destroyed trust with you. You don't trust us anymore. We're gonna rebuild your trust."
Mm.
And I was like, "Okay." And then the end of the school year came, and I talked to that teacher, and she was like, "Yeah, they never came to me about it. I would have totally done it. I would
Mhm.
have totally helped you." And I ended up failing all my classes again.
Jeez.
And so I ended up switching schools. I went to homeschool my
Mhm.
senior year. Best decision I
Mhm.
ever made.
Yeah.
Best, best change. It's it was just what I needed. It was very flexible, and I didn't feel pressured because I felt in school I was pressured to be the smart student,
Right.
the example student, and now I was just able to take the classes that I wanted. Like if I would have stayed in school, I would have had to take my freshman year. They forced me to take two maths so that I could take calculus my senior year, and I was like, I don't want to take calculus my senior year. They were
Yeah.
like, too bad.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
and
I took calculus my senior year. I did well in it. I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. Mm.
I love math. I do math all the time because I do a lot of like seamstress work in that.
Mhm.
And I do a lot of like calculating of hypotenuse and
Cosine, sine,
uh
cosine, all that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of just like diameter,
Mhm.
perimeter, like circle stuff. But I love doing that and I have fun with that, but I don't go home every night wanting to do equations and that. One time there was a kid who wanted me to take his final for him. I barely knew the kid. He wanted me to take his final for him. Didn't barely talked to me, didn't even know anything but my name. And he was like, "Oh, can you take my vital for me?" I'm like, "No." He didn't even offer to like do anything in exchange. He didn't even offer any type of payment. I would have done it for a Dr. Pepper.
Well,
No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't have done it for a Dr. Pepper. Like, now, if it was like a lifetime supply of Dr. Pepper, then we might be talking.
a 24-pack, if it's cold.
Yeah, it depends,
but really, it sounds like you're hitting this situation in what may be the absolute worst time to hit it, and that's when you make that transition from being a kid to being a young adult. And
oh yes,
and that there's so many different things. I went into therapy myself during that time. Not nearly in the situation you were, but everybody has something, and it's not easy anyway. And then to be battling yourself and what's happening with depression has got to make it immensely more tough.
And another thing is I struggle with PTSD, and that is a little. I like to talk about it, and like I like to show like I'm not afraid to say that I have it because I want to destroy the stigmatism of people associating with like just war veterans and stuff like that, and not 20-year-old girl who dresses like she's 5. But because you probably tell I'm very like cheerful and uppity and that, but I do struggle a lot with PTSD. My parents have been really helpful with it. But I actually the day of my debut, I had a PTSD episode like before my debut, and I almost canceled it. And then afterwards, for another situation, completely unrelated situation, I had another one that triggered it, and I almost completely was like, this is a mistake. I should have never done VTubing. Anytime I try to do anything and move on with my life, everything comes back. And then whenever I snapped out of it, whenever my mom was like helping me, I talked to her and I was like, you know what? Screw it. All these situations, all these people from my past, if they really want to get to me, they already know how to get to me. So why should I go and hide and wait for them to find me and wait for all these bad things to find me when I can go out and be happy, do the things that I want to accomplish, help others, and just get on with my life. And it's scary, but either way, things are gonna happen. I don't think I ever really fully finished the question of how I became a VTuber.
No, but
I kind of went up.
But this does a little bit. It certainly does, because you said you wanted to use VTubing as a way to help other people and give them something too. And this definitely explains a lot of the reasoning behind it. And I do appreciate that. And it takes an immense amount of courage to tell that much of yourself into what's happened and what you've dealt with, and with PTSD on top of it. People have no idea how much you've been through and what you've had to do to get to where you are today. And my hat's off to you and to your parents, by the way, for getting in and making sure that things were going in the positive direction. You've come a long way, obviously, and you've got a long way to go, which we're going to be watching in the future on all your stuff. Well, what do you have planned right now on your channel? What are you doing? What will you be doing in the future here?
In the future, long-term goals, I really want to do a lot of community stuff. I want to do things to bring together people. I want to I'm planning a game of Blood on the Clock Tower. It's a very like werewolf mafia type game.
Werewolf mafia.
Like Yeah, like those things like werewolf, comma, mafia.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of novels about the werewolf mafia. You just have to look for them in special sections.
yeah, yeah, it's I like board games like that. I love being the storyteller of that. I want to do a VTuber uh campaign of that, a beginner friendly, just to provide some fun. It's very like Town of Salem-y, Among Us-y,
Hmm.
all that type of stuff, but it can be done completely virtually, and it's just a lot of communication, talking to people. It could take like 2-3 hours sometimes,
Mm.
but it's just a really fun game, fun round.
And
Um,
I noticed that you had a cover on your YouTube channel.
yeah, I did. Kashika, that's my debut cover. It's from a game called Project Sekai, that I got roped into about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, and I the characters in that game really resonate with me because it does talk a lot about teenagers struggling with mental illness, or there was a character who had freezing episodes,
Hmm.
like I did. And I really related to those characters. I relate to the music. Um, it's all in Japanese, but I love the music.
Yeah.
I pretty much only listen to J-pop. The three genres of music I listen to: J-pop, video game OSTs,
Mhm.
and Weezer. Three genres of music.
Wow. There's
And,
a there no I won't mention the phrase K-pop then to you.
oh no, I could never get into K-pop really. I know that my friend, my identical twin sister, even though she's 3 years older than me,
Mm.
we she's really into K-pop. She always talks about her 7 husbands. But I could never get into K-pop. But J-pop, Vocaloid, really into that.
Well, well,
But and I started doing covers and stuff of from a series called Love Live, and that's how I kind of got to like know more about the VTuber sphere and that, and started getting recommended like VTuber stuff
mhm.
and that. So I've done some covers in the past. They're probably still floating around on the internet somewhere. I
Mm.
don't know where, but probably still. But yeah, my debut cover. It wasn't. I went. I changed my debut cover time after time after time again, and I really resonated with this one because it translates to suspended animation, and it's the opening line translates to something along the lines of, "I want to breathe, so I release my first cry on this world, but it's hard to live." Um, I forget what it translates to next, but it's like it's hard to live, but like I think it's like something along like living is hard and it's difficult, but I
Mm.
want to be heard.
Mm.
Um, and I'm like, and that's I think that that's what my motto is in life. I want to be heard. It's things are hard, things are struggle. I struggle a lot, but I my voice can still be heard. You can hear me. You can hear me fight,
I'll
and
take
that's what I want to
yeah.
do. And I have plans for other covers. I am my next cover. I just finished a game called Undertale Yellow.
Uh-huh.
It's a fan game of Undertale,
Right.
which one of my favorite games of all time, and it means so much to me. I played it with my brother whenever we were younger, and like I forced him to play it. He was like, "What are you having me play?" And I'm like, "Just trust me." And we really connected a lot through it. And by the time that it ended, he was like, "I'm really happy that you made me play it." And that's the closest we've ever been.
Mm.
And after finishing this game, I was like, you know what? Hey, he's in a band, so I was like, hey, can I cover one of your songs to have it play during the end of the video that I'm editing for Undertale Yellow? And he was like, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm working on that. And then my friend Alex is a really skilled composer. They have a song called Frog Flying Through Outer Space, and it's just this very goofy song about a frog that flies through outer space. But I just really want to cover it and do it and be goofy, silly. Completely contrast in songs because the one my brother wrote, very sad real life experience song.
Right.
But this one, frog flying through outer space. Just goofy.
And that would be a great
So,
that would be a great real life experience. I want to see that one.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I want to cover songs that my friends or like family like have wrote. So those are plans there. I want to do more music stuff.
Well,
Um,
and say I'm not putting anything past you because obviously you are an extremely strong person. You've got goals set. You got things you want to do, and you're not going to let even yourself get in your way at this point.
nope.
And
Nope.
and that is admirable in many ways. And I really, really hope that this is your best year yet on this
Oh,
planet,
me too.
and things go real well.
2023 2023, I had the worst luck from like November on.
Hmm.
I fell down the stairs. I broke a tooth.
Hmm.
I was doxxed.
Wow.
And that was like my huge breaking point of I want something to change
Hmm.
because it was someone that met at work whenever I tried a job. I tried a job earlier that year and it just didn't work out for
Right.
me. I said hi to him like twice and he only knew my first name, not how to spell it or anything. And he somehow found my address and he sent me a letter and it just
Oy.
I felt like that really opened my eyes. I was like, all I did was exist, and then something bad happened to me, and
Mm.
something made me uncomfortable.
Right.
So I want to go out and empower myself, and I want to do more because if things are going to happen anyway, they're going to happen. And around that time, I was recommended a clip of Iron Mouse.
Yeah.
You probably hear of her a lot.
Oh yeah.
I was recommended a clip of Iron Mouse, and she was talking about how she struggles with her sickness, and she said something along the lines of how before she started VTubing, she would just lie in bed every day and cry and think, is this all there is for me?
Mm.
And that really hit deep because I have those days. I totally went through that with just everything, and it helped me accept that I am sick. I do have an illness, and I would always put it down like, oh, there's always people who have it worse than me, or oh, I'm not that bad, or oh, I would always play it down, but it helped me accept, no, this is a part of me, and I want to do something about it. So I always had the passion for content creation. I tried streaming before, and being a face tuber, I actually was last stream I did as a face tuber. It was about a year ago. I was playing The Sims and I was just goofing around on The Sims, and
Right.
someone came in and they flirted with me and were being like very creepy with
Right.
me. And that's when I stopped wanting to show my face and that
Mm.
I was like, yeah, but I loved doing that. I loved the content creation and I loved being a personality. Very into acting and that.
Yeah.
And
That certainly adds up
I
to VTubing, doesn't it?
oh yeah. So
Wow.
VTubing, I got to create a character and then I found your interviews and I started really like doing research. I started listening to them. I was like, okay, what can I take away from everyone's story? What works for everyone? What doesn't? How are their methods? Or like there there's like I started being very analytical because I have a very like analytical type brain. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
this type of VTuber does X, Y, and Z, while this type of VTuber does X, Y, and Z. I want to be this kind of VTuber.
Yeah.
So I'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I'll mix it together. And it really helped me
Yeah.
just figure out what I wanted to do.
Well, I tell you, if the only thing that's left of these interviews is the fact that it helped you out, then it's been a good thing. That's
Yeah,
I'm just happy that you've been
yeah,
able to.
it was a goal of mine to get interviewed by you.
Well, one goal is finished, but I'm telling you this,
Yay.
it better not be the last time we interview, okay?
Oh yeah, I'd love to meet with you again.
Well, yeah, because we're
I'm
gonna have
excited.
to.
I love radio. I think I brought it up a little bit that
Yeah.
I used to do like radio stuff.
Yep, yep, and unfortunately, you don't make any money at it, which is why we're not doing it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
You got to feed the bulldog eventually. They get mad.
And that's why I have a padded soundproof room in my basement to do voice acting instead.
I have a padded room in my basement, but it's not for that. No, it's not for that. Anyways, I really do appreciate it. It's great meeting you. What you've been able to do is amazing, and we're going to keep an eye on you and make sure that this year, everything you get to do whatever you want to do this year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm so excited, and I can't wait to come back because I'm surprised I didn't even mention my favorite video game once, Zero Escape. Play Zero Escape if you haven't. Anyone listening, please play Zero Escape.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.